Hello, I'm Maurice Dimba. Welcome to this tutorial. Today, we are going to place steel bars on this RCC model. Welcome once again, and we'll get started right away. We'll start with the pad footing, beams, then the columns. Let's get started. Now, I'll come to rendering here under view. I'll click this drop down arrow, and I'll pick parts shaded wireframe. I want to make the whole model transparent so that I can be able to see everything happening inside the beams, footings, and the columns. Now, there's particular settings I made, so we want to default on these settings. So I'll show you how these settings were made. To do that, I'll just come on pad footing here, and I'll double click on the pad footing. Then the macro for pad footing will present itself, or will come up. Now we'll close this. We want this. I want to show you how this was set. And another numerical name for this is 77. You can close that, then come to applications and component here. Just click on that. Then just come here and either type pad footing, or you can just type the numerical name of that macro. So what I'm talking about is this pad footing reinforcement, numerically known as 77. Now double click on that. Once you double click, that dialog box will come up for that pad footing. Here it is, and this is where the settings start from. On the picture, you can adjust this maybe to 25 or 50. Then this also you can adjust to your preference. I'll come to primary bar here. Now on primary bar, these are the bars. Let me just press Ctrl R, then turn this round so that you can be able to see this clearly. I'll just bring it close. I want to show you how the secondary and primary bar changes. I'll right click and exit from that. I'll double click once again. Now we're on primary bars. I'll close this. And as it sits now, you don't know which one is primary bar and which one is secondary bar. And to identify that, I'll come to size here. I'll click on this radio button just close to size 16. I'll click on that. Then this select reinforcing bar dialog box will come up. Then I'll try to pick a different size from 16. I'll try to pick 20. I'll pick it as the main bar. Then I'll give it an OK by clicking apply button, then giving it an OK. I'll do the same thing here. I'll click modify. You'll see this part is changing. So these bars running on that direction, these are the primary bars. They are the main bars. Now what I'll do, I'll undo that. Then I'll take you to secondary bars tab. I'll click on that. So whenever you try to change this by clicking on this radio button next to the size 16 steel bar, then this will take us to select reinforcing bar dialog box. Then I'll pick the appropriate size. I'll pick 16 as main bar. Then click apply and give it an OK here. Then I'll try to give it a modification button by clicking it. I'll click on that, and you'll be able to see the secondary bar also responding in that direction. So this is how you set that. So from that setting, you've known that the bars going in that direction are the main, then this one going this way are secondary bars. Now we'll go to startups here, and laser bars. I'll click on laser bar here. Then from here, I'll go straight and show you how these startups or laser bar came up. You can adjust the size from this end. Laser bar, this LC1. Also to change the size, just click on this radio button here, and this will invoke or will bring this select reinforcing bar dialog box here. this will come up, and you can change the size from there. You can either change to 12 as a tie or startup, then give it an OK by clicking apply. Then you come to the dialog box here under modify, then click modify. You will see itself. You will see that changing size, and also you can change the number of bars or startup. If I type 2 under number of bar spacing, there to have typed 2 there, you can see that also to change to 2. I'll bring it back to 3. Let me just type 3 there and give it an OK right there. Then the spacing you can change here, you can change this, you can change that. So we are going to work with these settings, and I'll go ahead and click modify just to make the program make these settings as default. So whenever I invoke this macro for pad footing, it will pick these settings right away. So now you can I can take you through the secondary bar setting. You can check how those were fed, and primary bar, same thing here. Take you back to picture tab. That's the way it is. Now I'll go ahead and click OK once I've invoked or accepted these to be my default settings. Whenever I pick or click on this pad footing reinforcement macro, I'll click on it again because I want to place all. I want to reinforce all the footings in this model. Now I'll press Ctrl R. I'll press Ctrl R just to rotate this. You press Ctrl R and hold while holding the middle button on your mouse. That will enable you rotate the model comfortably. Now let me just turn it again by pressing Ctrl, holding Ctrl, and holding middle button on my mouse, and I'll be able to turn this round. If you take a look, I've already done this. So I want to take you step by step on how to place these rebars. I'll click undo everything. I want to remove all those rebar placed on footing. And remove everything. I want to remove everything. Let me just go on to get rid. I want to get rid of everything so that I take you on step 1, then to step 2. I think everything has been removed. Now we want to get started right away on how to place this rebar after making the settings. So you want to place the same rebars to the rest of the footing. Now I'm just getting a position on how I can save time in placing these steel bars on the footing. Now I'll double click on empty screen, then under view properties I'll come to rotation around Z and Z. I want to change all these view to 0, then I'll click modify. This is how it will look. This is how it will look. I'll close this. The views can come to the view properties will come to, you can come to rendering, then you can pick either parts rendered. It will take us back to how it was looking initially. And if you come back to parts wireframe, this is the view we'll have. I'll double click once again. Double click. And change this to 90, this to 0. Click apply and accept. So we want to place our rebars here. I'll come on pad footing here. Then I'll select that. Then I select that. Then I'll select this. I'll select that. I'll come here and do the same thing here and select that. Please note that all the footing in this direction, all rebars has been placed on them. Now when I change my view by just going straight and press Control and pressing my middle button on the mouse, I'll turn that round just to check whether everything has been placed. You can see that all the rebars or all the footings have been placed. Let me just change this render component frame. Let me just go to wireframe. You can see that rebars placed on the footing. I can go back to render and I can see a grayscale. If I come back to components render, it's the same thing. Components shaded is the same thing. Then I'll take you back to that view. Let me just go back to wireframe. Now I want to do the same thing on the column. I'll come to Stata bar here, numerically name known as 87 is the same thing I used here in creating the Stata bars, and it went all the way to the highest dimension of the column, I mean to the very top of the very last slab. Then I'll come here, double click just to show you the settings that were used. I'll close this. Now under picture, you'll be able to see that there is this 800. There's the I'll give allowance of starter bars where my slab ends. I'll have some steel bars protruding at 800 millimeter. Now I want startups or ties. I need 80 of them at a distance of 200 millimeter center to center, and I want this to offset itself from the formwork by 90 millimeter. You can do that. This is also how you want to place or to start placing your starter bars. You can pick one of this. So the standard one is this one here, and I'll pick it. Let me just turn this round. Now, having made these settings, prior to going ahead, I'll show you how to control these main bars. Now under picture, and then come to the top view of this column here. We have various presentation or how you want your column steel bars to look like. You just come to this box, then click this drop down arrow. Then you will be presented with the 3 options of steel bar presentation. Then number of sidebars or spacing bars. You can come here and either feed one. You want to add another bar, go ahead and click that. 1 bar will be added on this end. And since we don't need this bar, we only need a bar on this side, and on this side. Now we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of that. So if you get rid of this, also this is what you'll be seeing. The bars on both sides will disappear, but if we find this necessary, we'll add 1 bar here. I'll click modify, apply and accept. Then we'll go to locations. On locations, we'll feed the exact dimension or the exact size of the column, of the RCC column. The size is 300 millimeter. If you want to confirm that, you just double click on the column, and you'll be able to see on the profile here it is 300 by 300. Confirmed. Now the same dimension is what you'll feed here. Then we have various ways to place your ties or startups. You come down here and drop down arrow and click on that. Then you'll see other ways of placing your startups. I picked on this, and this is the way it is. This dimension, we just maintain it at 0 just to make sure your steel bars are exactly centered on this steel column. That's all. And there's no need of that. So once you've done that, just go ahead and click modify, apply and accept to keep that on default as a default setting. So whenever you invoke this macro and click on a column, that is the way the same settings will be placed on the column. Now we'll go straight away and get started and start placing the rebars on the columns. So we want to place this model in a position that we will be able to select all the columns at a go, just to cut down on time. I'll double click on the screen, then I'll change my view to 90 and leave this at 0. Then I'll click modify, apply and accept. I'll bring it closer, bring this closer. Then I'll come to Stata by here, or already brought closer to us, or you can just go straight away and under applications and component here, then type pad or just type 87. This will come up. Then the moment you click on this, having made the settings we made as a default setting for all with the columns, we'll just go ahead and start selecting the columns like that, and select the columns here like that, and we'll do the same thing to columns in line with this, or columns in this line. All of them will be reinforced. All of them will be reinforced. Now I'll right click and click interrupt. Once I've done that, I'll switch back to my previous view by just pressing Control and hold and doing the same to my milled button on the mouse, and you can see that all steel bars on all the columns have been placed. Now we want to do the same thing to the beams, and to do that to the beams, we'll default on these settings made here. I'll just double click on this so that the macro can come up. The dialog box for this macro setting made here can come up, so that you can be able to see how that was made and how it is set up to come to this way. Then I'll just double click on that just to show you. Now under this Tekla structure beam reinforcement, numerically known as 63, you can also come to applications and dialog box here and click on that. Then the moment you click on that, then type 63 here, 63. This is what we are talking about. So the moment you double click on this, we'll close this. The moment you double click on this, the same dialog box will come up. So I'll come back here. Let me right click and exit from that command. So when you come back to this beam and double click, you'll see the settings inside here. You can see that. Now at the bottom of the beam we need only two two steel bars. Size is 16 millimeter. The moment you click on this radio button just next to this box, this will automatically bring you back here under select reinforcing bar dialog box, and from here you can select the appropriate size of the steel bar. I picked 16 as my main bar. Then I went ahead and click apply and accept. Then I came here on the upper side and did the same. I need two bars, this one and this one. The size is 16. You can change that. I came and I came and picked 16 as main bar and clicked apply and accepted that. Then I gave an offset of 50 millimeter away from the formwork, still away from the formwork. This 50 millimeter, same on this side, 50 millimeter, same on this bottom end. So if you want some more steel bar, you can add the number and the size right there. Now when I come to hooks, on hooks here, I'm talking about these hooks. Let me just turn this round. I'm talking about these hooks. These hooks. To adjust the hook angle and length, you just come under hooks, then click on the shape here. You'll be given, there's a flat, there's no hook at all. There's a hook at 90 degrees and this one at 135. Then pick on the blue one. The moment you pick on the blue one is like customizing the angle and the length of your hook. So this one I gave it 100, but it seems a bit longer, so they are clashing in the middle here. Now I'll just go ahead and change the length to 80. I'll click 80 so you can be able to see that. I'll change this one also to 80. Change this also to 80. Click change that to 80. You can see that adjusting itself. So the length of the band is 80. Let me press control, then holding the middle button on my mouse. You can see how that is changed. The hooks are controlled. I'll right click and interrupt that. Now to customize the hooks, you just come to start and end, pick on the blue as to customize your hook length and angle, and do the same thing. Bottom first row and the top first row. Do the same thing and change the lengths to 80 or the appropriate length of your preference. I'll do that and accept everything right there. Now I'll take you back once again by double clicking on that. Then I want to show you how the startups were set up. I'll come to startup spacing. And here these startups or ties are grouped. So to make sure they're not grouped, make sure these under N as numbers are empty, and all these box, and from here to here we maintain a distance of 200. What I'm talking about, creating groups, creating startups, you can come to this drop down arrow, click on that. So the moment you click as group or separate group, let me just do that. I've picked that, and I want these startups to be in group, maybe in groups of 10, and that also to be in groups of 10, this also to be in groups of 10. And if I click modify, you'll see how this is appearing here. I'll click on that and you'll be able to see how this is grouped here. is not showing, means it is picking my previous settings as a default. Now we'll just get rid of this grouping of 10, just get rid of that and maintain that 200 center to center of startups. And that's all. I'll just go ahead and click apply and accept. Now I want to use these settings as my default settings to all the beams. I'll come here and double click on that. Now prior to doing that, I want to have a very clear view on how to place this beam reinforcement as fast as possible and for us to cut down on time. Now I'll double click on empty screen. I'll double click on empty screen here and change this view to 90 and give that 0. I'll click apply and accept. Then come to beam reinforcement here. I want to reinforce all the beams. Now I'll highlight on that. I'll highlight on that or select on that and come here also and select the beams right there. All the beams in that line will be reinforced. And I'll do the same thing here. Just bring it closer and do the same thing right there. I'll come on top here and do exactly the same. I'll do the same thing right there. We are placing the reinforcement on the beams, columns, and the footings. Let me just bring it close and I'll highlight that beam. Place the reinforcement right there, and similar thing will be done here. Perfect. We'll go up again and do just the same thing. I'll click on that and wait for it to take effect. Bring it close and do the same thing here. Perfect. Then I'll go this end and do exactly the same here. I'll do the same thing here. Perfect. I'll go up on this side to place another reinforcement. On the cantilever beam also we need to place reinforcement. That one has been placed. I'll just come down here. I can't select everything because I'll even select the slab, but the slab has been already reinforced, so we don't want to add any steel on our slab. I'll add that. I'll come here and do the same thing here. I'll add that. Come this end and do the same thing. Do the same thing here. Come the other end. Remember, for beams we have to do it two ways. This side, this side and the other side, so that we can be able to select the beams that are not facing us or facing the opposite direction. Reinforce that. Reinforce that. Come here and reinforce this, the cantilever beam. Then we come up here and do exactly what we've done to the other parts of the building or the RC model. Do that. We wait for it to take effect and do that. So the 800 allowance of leaving Stata bars in case you want to continue with the RCC work. The Stata bars already given there. You can always extend these, extend the floors of this building using these Stata bars already left there or already created right there. Then we'll still just continue placing our steel bars on the beams. Just come here and do exactly the same thing. We want to add steel bars right there. Then we come to cantilever beam here and add steel. Now we want to switch to another view, and to switch to another view, we'll just double click on this. Then we want to change this to 180. We'll change this to 180 and leave the axis rotation to 0. We'll click on that 180, then apply and accept that. Now this is the 180 I was talking about. So now we'll go ahead and start placing the rebars on the other direction or the other side of the beams. I'll click on that, then highlight on, then select on the beams right here, then select on that, then I'll come here and select on that. I'll come here and do the same thing. I'll select on the beams right here. I made it transparent by pressing Ctrl 2 to make it transparent so that I can be able to see everything happening inside the beams and the columns and the footings while placing the rebars on them. I'll come here and do the same thing, placing or reinforcing that. I'll come up here again and click right here just to make sure everything or the beams have been reinforced right there. I'll come to the bottom end here, and make sure everything has been done in appropriate way. Rebars, place rebars right there. Place the rebar here right there. Go all the way and place another one, other ones. I mean, reinforcing this beam, reinforce that. We'll reinforce these. Perfect. We'll come up here and do exactly the same thing. Do the same thing right there. We'll do it, we'll go step by step till we clear all the reinforcements on all sides of the RCC model, just to make sure everything is in place or everything is done perfectly. I'll zoom here and select on this. Let me target the other end. The model is coming a bit slow because there is a lot of steel now already placed here. it's making it a bit slow. I'll select on that also. I'll zoom out and come all the way to the bottom end here and select the plinth beam here, reinforce the plinth beams. I'll zoom this side and do exactly the same thing here. I'll come this side and do exactly the same thing once again. Let me bring it closer. Just do that to ensure you're not leaving any part not reinforced. Come up here and do the similar thing. Do the same thing on top here. We left this without steel reinforcement, without placing steel in on the concrete. We should not forget that. Come up here and do just exact the same thing, exactly the same thing. Then we'll move step by step to check whether any part has been left out. Now from there, I'll just go ahead and right click, assuming every part has been reinforced, taking into account that you are getting the concept being used on how to place the rebars on the columns, beams, and the footing. I'll just press Ctrl and hold my milled button on the mouse and turn this around like this so that you can be able to see what we were doing. We've done this. I'll turn this around like this so that you can see it clearly. This is completely still. It is becoming slightly heavy because of number of steel. They are in their thousands and thousands steel. You can see that. We leave it at this and we'll close this. Now you can view this using the view list. You can come here, then you go to view, you go to view and come to view list here. Now we want to check each floor according with the preferred height. We'll come to plan 0. Plan at 0. We'll bring it to this end and be able to see this plan here. So when you press Ctrl 2, this is what you'll be able to see, but without reinforced bars. If you come to this height of 3 meters, if you bring it here, you'll also be able to see this. You can also see that you can see the floor, this floor, like that. So when you press Ctrl 2, this is what you'll see. Let's just take it back to where it was before. When I come to height of 6 meters, if I bring it here, this is what you'll see. If we change to plan view, to isometric view, this is what you'll see. You'll go like that if you want to go step by step in placing the steel bar in this way, by coming to each floor and placing the steel bar. That's okay also. Then if I take you to the floor of 9 meter height, if I bring it there, and switch my isometric view. There it is. We'll go all the way to the very top one. I mean the final height of 18 meters. 18 meters is not necessary. I'll just bring it back where it was, and I'll switch back to 12 meters and see how it is presenting itself. 12 meters, it's okay. Then when you come to 15 meters, let's see. Maximum views are 9. We can't go beyond 9 views. You can not open more than 9 views at the same time. We've exhausted the number of views we can have at a time. I'll click OK, and click OK also, and this is how you can place the rebars. Now if you decide now to go floor by floor on each level, and press Ctrl 2, then you go straight away here, click on that and just click on these beams, and you're done. As simple as that. I'll press Ctrl 4, then I'll switch back to my usual view of isometric. I'll come to that, and this is what I'll have. I'll close this, close this, perfect. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I'm Maurice Dimba, and if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, and let's meet then. Bye bye.